The head of a Russian mercenary group has died in a plane crash just 2 months after threatening a coup against President Vladimir Putin, who he had been openly criticizing for his handling of the Ukraine war for months. This was also, it's reminiscent of the 2014 downing of a passenger plane over Russia as well. And it seems like there might have been a surface-to-air missile that caused this plane to fall. So it wasn't just naturally occurring, people. But no, the plane carrying 3 pilots and 7 passengers was traveling from Moscow to St. Petersburg, according to officials cited by Russia's state news agency. And Prigozhin, who is the head of the mercenary group Wagner, who was killed, was on the passenger list for the plane. There he is. Prigozhin is there again, head of the Wagner group, effective war criminal, has done heinous crimes throughout the world, but was on Putin's S list because of what he tried to do only a couple months ago. The United States just recently says that a surface-to-air missile originating from inside Russia likely shot down the plane presumed to be carrying the mercenary leader, Yevgeny Prigozhin, on Wednesday. 2 US officials told Reuters on Thursday. The official who spoke on conditions of anonymity, given the sensitivity of the matter, stressed that the information was still preliminary and under review. Who is Prigozhin? Prigozhin is 62 years old. He spearheaded this mutiny against Russia's top army brass on June 23rd and 24th, which Putin said could have tipped Russia into civil war. The Wagner fighters shot down Russian attack helicopters during the revolt, killed an unconfirmed number of pilots, and infuriated the military. So they did a lot. There was a lot. Now, how did it all end? Because that was crazy. Remember, it was like Wagner mercenary groups are marching on Moscow. Like, what is happening right now? The mutiny was ended in an apparent Kremlin deal. We know how those go, which saw Prigozhin agree to relocate to neighboring Belarus. But in practice, he had appeared to move freely inside Russia after the agreement, which had reportedly guaranteed his personal safety. So he's guaranteed his personal safety. He can move around Russia, or maybe he's gonna ultimately relocate to Belarus. And then his plane gets shut down. I think we could have all seen this coming. And this is sort of my feeling when anyone says we could just negotiate with Vladimir Putin. I don't believe in giving Ukraine endless weapons, but this is the kind of negotiator that Vladimir Putin is. He's gonna sign an agreement and then he's gonna shoot your plane down. Again, unconfirmed, but most likely. Sharon, what do you think?
I don't know why everyone's blaming Vladimir Putin. He did offer condolences. I'm reading them, okay? He offered condolences to the family and he just described him as a person with a complicated background who made a serious mistake in his life. So he could have fallen out of a window. That's happened a few times, but instead these things do take place. When you are dealing with a war criminal, which Putin is, if you're going to go there, you better cut off the head of that snake.
Yeah.
He didn't do it. Can't threaten and flirt with it, okay? If you are a true mercenary, this man was a vicious killer. He did not take him out. So you can't, you're right. You can't negotiate with Vladimir Putin. You've got to get him out of power, and whatever happens next, maybe that's up to the Russian people. Doesn't seem like that's gonna happen anytime soon.
It is absolutely up to the Russian people. I 100% agree with you there. And interestingly, the Wagner group is mad. They're mad that their leader, Prigozhin, was effectively, it seems, to be murdered in this plane crash. Here is a clip from them, and I'll give you the translation, but take a look.
Много разговоров идет о том, чем будет заниматься Вагнер в данной ситуации. Мы скажем одно: мы уже стартуем. Ждите нас.
Okay, so if you're listening, they said there's a lot of talk about what the Wagner group will do. We can tell you one thing, we're getting started, get ready for us. The men warned in this video posted on Russian Telegram channels. So there they are, they're vowing revenge. And it'll be interesting to see what shakes down and what happens. We know there's been a lot of dissent within the Russian military itself, partly because they've been sent on suicide missions. They have not been properly prepared. They did not expect for this war to drag on as long as it has. And there is, despite the amount of clampdown on dissent in the country, a growing amount of unrest and dissent, especially as family members are coming home in body bags. So, I mean, here's my thing, Sharon. I'm like, yeah, Prigozhin, why didn't you just go all the way? Why didn't you just do it? Like, at least try, because you knew you had to have known you were gonna die anyway. You had to have insisted, no, I'm traveling by horse to Belarus or not at all, because a plane, again, this is dangerous stuff and Putin will go to any lengths. I'm staying in any hotel, but it can't have windows. First floor only, baby.
Yeah, and Putin's a very patient killer. He's very patient. Look what he did in the weeks and months leading up to this.
Yeah,
these men were in the same place. They chatted. He had him, despite everything that he knew, he was feeling more comfortable and confident enough to get on a private plane. And well, condolences to all.
Yeah, I have to just go to this because it's so funny. President Biden found out that the Russian mercenary leader Prigozhin was killed right after he came out of working out at the gym. That's right. So President Biden was then asked by the media what he thinks about this, the death of Prigozhin, whether he thinks Vladimir Putin did it. Here is what he had to say.
I don't know for a fact what happened, but I'm not surprised.
Do you believe?
There's not much that happens when Russia is Putin not behind, but I don't know enough to know the answer. I've been working out for the last hour and a half.
I love the flex. I've been working out for the last hour and a half. Okay, Dark Brandon, with your little acai smoothie there. I see you. Like, he comes out working out. He's being asked by the media what he thinks. He says, look, not a lot happens in Russia without Vladimir Putin's knowledge and or consent or, so I don't know enough about it. But yeah, I've just been working out. I'll come up to speed. I just kind of love this clip. It's a funny clip and I appreciate him just sort of like sidling up to the media, like, okay, I'll tell you, you don't have to stop. You could just go.
He was in a gracious mood. He just did what, an hour and a half, as you said, of Pilates. He did Pilates. Well, that's exactly
what do you think?
He was doing. He was doing
it's
Pilates.
A slow bike. It's the bike, obviously. I think Biden's definitely doing like an hour and a half. He's doing the bike. He's going at an easy, maybe medium resistance. He's watching his stories. Whatever his stories are. He's watching like Kelly Clarkson. That's what I think he watches. And there he is having his little smoothie. We shall see how all this shakes out and what it means for the broader war in Ukraine.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.